Greetings of the day. In this video lecture for Financial Accounting BCom 4th Sem, we will start with our unit number 4, that is the last unit of our syllabus. In the earlier video lecture, we have completed our first 3 units. Now we will start with our unit number 4, that is liquidation of companies or winding up of companies, or it is also known as liquidator's final statement of account. In the due process from earlier years, we have seen how to start the company. Even though we have seen how to make the financial accounts for the companies in different semesters, but now in this particular chapter we will discuss about how the company is put into liquidation or how it is wind up. What is the process? Who are the person who are in charge for executing the same process? That is what would be discussed by us in theoretical portion or its theoretical background in today's lecture, and the subsequent part related with the unit of numerical portion would be discussed in the next lecture. So first of all, we will see what is the definition of the liquidation or winding up of the company. It is the legal procedure prescribed by the Companies Act for putting an end to the existence of the company, or else we can say that it is the process by which the business activities of the company are put to end by the person in charge, is known as liquidation or winding up of the company. That is what is the actual definition, in which we can see few important words. Legal procedure prescribed by the Companies Act. This is the most important phrase in the particular term. Then is an end to the existence. These are the most important thing which must include into the definition of liquidation of the company. So what would be the definition? It is the legal procedure by which we can put an end to the business of the company by the laws prescribed in the Companies Act. That is what is the definition of liquidation of the companies. It is the process by which we can go for the winding up of the companies, or we can put end to the what we can say existence or business or existence of the company, and its affairs are completely wound up. It means that we have completely end the all activities, operations and affairs of the company. That is what is the meaning or definition of liquidation. Then what can be the different types of liquidation? So we can say that there can be these broadly distributed these 3 types of liquidation of the company. First one is the voluntary liquidation. In this, the word voluntary means it is by our own wish or without any intervention of the court. It is what we can say unanimously discussed by the members, that are the shareholders. So we can say that in case of voluntary liquidation, we can again divide it into 2 parts. First can be by members and second can be by creditors. These can be the 2 possible methods under the voluntary liquidation, where we can go for the liquidation by the members voluntary liquidation, in which the shareholders of the company decide in the meeting to go for the liquidation of the company unanimously, so that there would be putting up to the end of the business of the company by passing a special resolution in the AGM of the company, or in a special meeting with regard to the urgency of the matter. There can be various possible reasons when the members can go for the liquidation of the company. If suppose that the company is not in position to discharge this liability for more than 3 years, or they are not doing the proper what we can say proper work as per the things mentioned into the memorandum of association or articles of association, so the members can resolve the compulsory liquidation or winding up of the company when company is unable to repay its debt, or we can even though say that the company turned insolvent, in that case also member can go and by bringing the special resolution into the meeting, they can go for the liquidation of the company. When we speak of the second type, it would be creditors voluntary liquidation. This in this thing again, the creditors of the company, when feel that the company is unable to pay the debts of the creditors, at that point of time, these creditors can go for the liquidation of the company so that they can realize their own debt. Again, they have to go for the complete process of the liquidation of the company. But what is the important thing when there is an creditors voluntary liquidation, that creditors are unable to get their money back from their or their debt from the company. In that case, the creditors can go for the winding up of company. Usually this type of what we can say winding up is usually seen where the company is wholly controlled by the creditors. Then second one is the compulsory liquidation. Here when the company fails to comply with certain law which is been mentioned in their articles or memorandum of association or in the Companies Act, sorry, at that point of time they are automatically going under the compulsory liquidation of the company. When the winding up of the company is under the court of order of the court of law, at that point of time it is compulsory liquidation. Here hence the decision in case of compulsory liquidation is not taken by members or creditors, it is taken by court of law. Even though new body is also established known as NCLT, that is National Company Law Tribunal, is also established for the purpose of resolving the issues related with the companies. There it is, we can say, the court for the companies where they can go. In case of compulsory resolution, it can be because of few reasons. The very first reason can be the company or the members of the company has passed a special resolution with regard to the liquidation of the company. That can be the first and possible reason. Second reason can be if company fails to submit its statutory report with the register of the company. At that point of time, as it is a statutory report which is mandatory for the company to submit with the register, if they fails, at that point of time again company can go for the liquidation, that is compulsory liquidation. If company fails to hold this statutory meeting, at again that can be a possible circumstances for compulsory liquidation of the company. Next thing can be if company is doing a business or activity which is not what we can say mentioned in the commencement of business within its purview, then again it can go for the liquidation of the company. Suppose that if a company has get the commencement certificate for a particular business, and if that business activity is not followed by the company, at that point of time they can again go for the compulsory liquidation of the company. Second thing, next thing can be if minimum number of members required for the company falls below that minimum or standard minimum ceiling, that is again a possible reason for the compulsory liquidation of the company. Or else when the court is in opinion that it is just an equitable for winding up of the company, then again they can go for the compulsory liquidation. But all these reasons we can see that if we fail to comply with any law as per mentioned in the Companies Act or the related things, at that point of time we fall under the compulsory liquidation. Then liquidation under the supervision of the court. In this liquidation under the supervision of the court, in this court is court appoints an particular member who would supervise overall process of the liquidation of the company. That is what is done into the third type, that is liquidation under the supervision of the court. When a member makes an voluntary liquidation and the application to the court is made for the purpose of conducting the liquidation process, at that point of time the winding up is done under the supervision of the court, but court himself or court itself cannot come and supervise all the thing. Hence liquidator is appointed by the court in this case, and that liquidator supervises the overall process of liquidation according to the guidelines which are been mentioned into the act and the rest things. That is how the consent of shareholders is also taken for the purpose of the third type of liquidation, that is liquidation under to the supervision of the court. Next is the appointment of the liquidator. Before going towards the appointment of the liquidator, first of all we should discuss who is a liquidator or what is liquidator. Liquidator is a person who is in charge to go for the legal process for liquidation of the company. He is been entitled as a person by the court or by the members, creditors, to conduct all the activities so that there would be proper procedure followed by the company or by him for the purpose of liquidation of the company. That is, that particular person is liquidator. Then comes the second term, that is appointment of the liquidator. So how or in what case the appointment is made by whom? So first of all, when there is voluntary liquidation by members, in that case members are usually entitled to appoint the liquidator. But when there is a liquidation by voluntarily by creditors, then jointly members and creditors both jointly appoints the liquidator. But if suppose there is no common stance or no common what we can say liquidator, if suppose that members has appointed Mr. X whereas creditors has appointed Mr. Y, in this case there would be a conflict. In that case the appointment would be made by the court, because as there is no common ground, here we are saying X and here we are saying Y, that is why now the matter would be in the court and the court will decide who would be the liquidator of the particular process of the company. Then if there is a compulsory liquidation, in that case also the appointment of the liquidator would be made by the court. And lastly, if there is liquidation under the supervision of the court, again that supervision for that purpose, for the purpose of supervision, the liquidator would be appointed by the court. Here are the certain functions which are to be executed by the liquidator. The very first function is the primary and most important task when you are appointed as a liquidator would be taking possession of all assets and books of account. The liquidator will come, what he would do, the liquidator would take possession of all the assets as well as books of account, so that he or she can go with the proper process for the liquidation of the companies. Then disposing all assets and realizing cash. We all know that, for example, this is the balance sheet of XYZ. Here are certain liabilities, here are certain assets. So what would liquidator do? All these assets of the company are to be taken by the liquidator or are in the first point we have said all the assets are taken in possession. So all these assets are possessed by the liquidator. Now all these assets were sold by him so that he can realize cash. Whatever, if there is land, building, investment or any other stock or loose tools, whatever our assets are, whether fixed or the current asset, all the other assets would be disposed of and cash would be obtained. Then calling uncalled amount of the shares from the members or shareholders. In share capital, if suppose that there are partly paid shares for say out of rupees 10, only 5 received है, only 5 received है. So in that case, number of shareholders who are partly paid into the amount of uncalled capital would be called by the liquidator, so that again cash can be obtained. Then realizing calls in arrears, if suppose there are certain calls in arrears in the company, that calls in arrears would again be called by the what we can say, that calls in arrears would be called by the liquidator. Then would be making payment of debts. Once we have obtained cash from selling all assets, again we have partly paid shares, or we have called uncalled or calls in arrears. At that point of time, what we can do, we can now make payment to the debts or to our creditors according to the rights which are been mentioned in the criteria, which we will discuss in the next lecture. Then distributing balance amount available to the shareholders, if any. So here what we can do, after payment of all the funds to the creditors, if suppose there are any other balances or surplus with the creditors, that surplus would be distributed to shareholders at last. Remember one thing, we would discuss in detail in the next lecture. First of all, we have to pay all creditors which are secured or unsecured. After that, we are entitled to pay members. Sequence wise, shareholders are in the last, that is what we have to remember. Then keeping account of transactions, whatever the transactions executed by the liquidator from the starting date, that is the date of my appointment, to the end date of liquidation process, all the transactions are to be kept tracked by the liquidator. Then submitting documents to the court as on when required along with the register of the companies. Though the company is under the liquidation process, but time to time we have to submit various documents to the court of law, and again with the what we can say register of the companies. So these are to be submitted by now liquidator, that is again his function or responsibility. Then lastly, submitting accounts in form of liquidator's final statement of account. So in last and most important thing is, he has to submit the liquidator's final statement of account, in which all the things which are related with the what we can say liquidation process, or how the cash has been generated from which sources and paid from which sources, are mentioned clearly, which is to be submitted and prepared by the liquidator. This is what we are going to see in the next lecture, that would be the liquidator's final statement of account. That is the most important portion which we are going to see. All these things were theoretical portion, but the last point, that is liquidator's final statement of account, is the thing which we are going to see in the next lecture. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.